All right, good morning, good morning, good morning, my neighbors, or good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are around the world. This is Before You Take the Trade Analysis. I am looking forward to go ahead and tell you a lot of what happened during yesterday. A lot of price action, a lot of movement, a lot of holy crap, what happened at the end of the day. And we're going to go ahead and dig in deep. So let's just go ahead and get started in the charts. Don't forget, hit the like, subscribe, and the bell button on YouTube. This helps the algorithm. I'm already at 100 subscribers, trying to get to 1,000, and your subscription will help as well. Also, I have my Instagram and Twitter. Sometimes I drop some gems in there. And also, if you're trading by yourself and you feel like you're trading alone and you need a community to help you trade, by all means, come check out Cheat Code. The link is down below. We have our Discord, and I'm always doing live trading floors on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we do night trading on Wednesday. All right, so let's go ahead and find out what happened in the charts. All right, so here's what is going on. So let's take the daily on NQ, for example, right? If we look at here on the daily, NQ was making some very massive moves to the downside, right? And well, let me take that a step back, because massive can be in the eye of the beholder, right? And to be honest, it looks like just a regular daily candle to the downside, and that's okay. But if we look at this chart all the way through, this candle by itself was 256 points to the downside, which was necessary. We have been on the upside for a very long time. You could see that we've been like literally pinning the stochastic on the NQ all the way up to the roof, and plus we've been hitting some all-time highs. So there's got to be some type of retest, right? So it looks like the first retest already happened. We triggered a sell signal on the cheat code algo, and we are pretty much trying to see where the rest of the sellers exist. Now, what makes things very interesting this morning is that we kind of opened up with a bit of a gap at 6 p.m. when the new session started. So you're talking about a good 100 points, 100 ticks that they are pushing to the upside. And this right here is creating a little bit of an imbalance. I do think we're probably going to take a shot at that at some point in time. But either way, I do think that this downtrend that I put on the 1 hour, that was my first test. That's what I kind of gave y'all when the market kind of opened up. That's what I was thinking was going to happen. We broke through it. It looked like it was going to continue, and then we created now this angle. So I am curious on what happens with this trend line here. Are they going to go ahead and give us some momentum to that downside, or are they going to go ahead and try to take more of this imbalance? So we got a 50 EMA on the 1 hour where it can hit its head and bump its head against the wall and continue back to the downside. So I am thinking we're probably going to be doing something like this, maybe here, and then coming back down. I drew this yesterday to kind of explain this to my folks on my trading floor, and I'm thinking maybe a 50% retracement that would be there. If we do a golden retracement, probably around here, maybe a golden zone retracement, that'll bring me back to the original trend line roughly here. At best, it's probably going to be here, which is this angle of these two 1 hour candles to the downside. So that is what I'm very curious about the market. What will it do? Especially we don't have a lot of catalysts that's going to be coming out, but for the most part, very close to the sun. What sun was that? Remember, I was talking to y'all about the $75 level. Looks like that $75 level did give it a little bit of a challenge on being able to make it to that upside. If we go over to the 2 hour, we will see that we kind of gave this engulfing candle, and I did have a little bit of an uptrend, right? The uptrend was right here. Oh man, we're fighting this cold here. But we had this uptrend that's right here, and it looks like it is starting to break. They've tried to break it over and over. Let's just call it here for aesthetic purposes. If the day actually holds below here, maybe they'll break the 50 and the 200. Now be careful with oil. Oil on the 2 hour did make a golden cross to the upside, so this can use as support just to continue to the upside and then take the $75 level out. So keep that in mind. Look at the daily. You'll see that oil has a little bit of a bend on the stochastic, and we're giving a lot of top wicks here. So this does tell us that there's some selling pressure, and we're sitting on the bottom of an order block. So that is what I am looking at for oil. Let's go to gold. Gold is doing its thing. It's a little bit of bullish, kind of, sort of, maybe, kind of. But yeah, I want to see it close above 250. I'm sorry, 2050 before I really get bullish. It's tried multiple times, multiple days. It just can't do it. Could today be the day that they try one more time and they break and make new highs? Maybe. I still don't see it coming back to 2150. Please do not play it all the way through there unless there's some real catalyst or real momentum. But right now, I do stay a little quasi bullish on gold, but we'll see where it goes from there. Let's go to ES. ES is trying to do its thing right now. Again, what we did at 6 o'clock, there is a little bit of space right here for ES. Same thing like NQ. When the market opened at 6 o'clock, they kind of pushed it up and we've been running since. Are they going to rebalance this area? Maybe. Are they going to take out this low? Maybe. So it all depends on where does it reject. Does it reject at 47.87? Maybe. Or does it reject and try to go for the highs up here at 48.30? Possibly. So these are the areas that I'm very curious on ES. Let's go to British Pound. British Pound, when we go up, they go up. When we go down, they go down. Right now, it's going up because we got that nice little gap up. Looks like it's treating this area like an order block. Came to this level, pushed down, boom, and then it's now springing up. Now, the only question I have for it is that the US dollar is starting to get a little bit bearish, but it's coming to which line? That line. But we'll get back to that, right? So if we look at here, this is a nice curl up on the stochastic that is trying to push the British pound, but there's a lot that needs to be desired if it's going to stay bullish. We got a flat or flat-ish buy signal on the cheat code algo. This doesn't tell me that it wants to go up. Look, if you ever see a flat line on a cheat code algo, I'm not saying stay away from it, but there is going to be a little bit of a challenge and it might break that support and start coming down. So I would say for the most part, look out for this area at 1.2561. If it breaks that, we're probably going to be coming down to the downside. All right, natural gas. Natural gas did do a little bit of my bumpy run. It broke out here, broke out there, continued to that upside, but now it's struggling to get to that next level. And it's only because winter is not only going to last so long. Eventually, natural gas, it does need to come down. I did want to see it test the 50 EMA on a daily. It did not. And it looks like it's going to start testing some lows before it actually goes up. So look for that on natural gas. Russell, you already know Russell tends to lead the market. And right now, the market is saying that the Russell, ooh, that's interesting. Stochastic is pointing down, but we're bullish. It doesn't have much of a hitch. Could we, this was a divergence I kind of marked out earlier. Let's get that out the way. We don't need that now. It's making me a little bit concerned. I don't think whatever pop-up happens on the Russell and everything else is going to lead to more upside. I think there is a strong possibility just because of this gap and the stochastic pointing down. I'm thinking more downside, and they're just looking for whatever point or whatever level they want to reject from. So look out for the Russell. If the Russell starts to fall, yeah, the rest of the market is falling and the dollar is getting stronger. All right. That said, we were talking about dollar earlier. Look at the dollar. Look at it. Isn't it so pretty? All right. So I did tell y'all I'm bearish on the dollar. As long as we stay below this level, I am still bearish on the dollar. There is still possibility for upside. There is still momentum to that direction. But this is a big but, right? I drew this line, and I think that's what they're looking for. Nice little upward trend line. This was the first spring up. They failed to really hold that, and I'm thinking they're coming back for the second retest here. And I think the only reason they're coming for the second retest is to bull trap, right? We rejected this downward trend line, looking for a nice little rejection, maybe like an H pattern, continue to the downside. It's not giving me the oomph I'm looking for to continue to think that the market's going up because the dollar needs to fall. So if we do put an imaginary line, I would say, but I would call it a potential downtrend. That'll be this. This is what we need to look at for an angle. I could come down to the 1 hour. look at this angle and see that even though we're breaking through it and we're coming back under it, and there's a possibility that it's now making lower lows, I am very curious on how the reaction happens roughly around 101.901, because I'm anticipating that there is going to be a spring up. Now, don't get it twisted. I think the market can still rally, probably even get more bullish going into January. I'm not taking anything away from that. There is a strong possibility of that. The only difference is that for it to do that, it needs to break that downward trend line. It needs to come down where it's breaking that level. We sprung up. What date was this? This was on December 14th, not too long ago, and they used that level and it failed to make a higher high. The potential downtrend does look good, but it has to break that level at 101.802 for it to really hold and start to turn bearish and make the market get really, really bullish. If it doesn't do that, I am thinking that they're going to spring this up, test this order block and get through it, and we're probably going to retest that downward trend line that started all the way over here back in November, and that's the beginning of our whole entire rally. At the end of October, we started the downtrend on the dollar, and boom, there's your uncle. That's how the market works. All right, so that said, I think I went ahead and went through all the commodities. You can go ahead at this point, put inside of the chat whatever it is that you are curious about, a ticker or things that you're looking for. Maybe you have levels that you want me to kind of put it against the cheat code algo. By all means, put it inside the chat. This is a great opportunity, or things that you're probably looking at or you're in the trade, right? Because this will help you, and I could go ahead and put it against the cheat code and let you know if it's a sound decision or if it's a questionable decision, and give you some insight in that. Also, and if you have not signed up for any of my workshops, I do suggest that you do grab one of my workshops. I got a couple that's coming up. We have the December 29th. I have Unleash Your Trader Identity. This is going to be really, really key. If you're struggling, you haven't figured out if you're going to be a scalper or a day trader, this is going to be something that's going to be really helpful. Also, I have Introduction to Market Psychology. I look at it from all three aspects. I'm talking about from you as an individual, the person that's going against you, because of course, if you're taking a buy, there's somebody that's a sell. See how they're looking at the market. And then also I'm looking at it as a market as a summation, and give you the ideology and where herd mentality and everything else comes from. So this is going to be very, very key. So enough of the plug. Let's get that out the way. What do I think of a potential buy on Euro JPY? All right, let me go ahead and grab my other chart for you. You say Euro JPY. Okay, are you thinking of a quick swing, or are you talking about a day trade? Because that one can be very tricky on that. Let's get this thing to load. So far, I think it is on a down, right? But it kind of looks like a bear flag. I would love, and this is where the Chico algo comes in very, very helpful. Probably a swing. Okay, good. All right, so if it can get above 157.935, that would be the entry level. Then you could look for some buy swings, right? Maybe something a little long term, and then it probably could target this imbalance that will take you all the way to 162.775. That'll be the first TP from a daily. Let's look at it from an hourly standpoint. Let's see what this looks like. See if we can find some day swings. Yeah, it looks like it's starting to look more and more like a bear flag that wants to break out in a way, right? So I have this as a pole, and then we have this that looks like a little bit of a channel that is kind of creating from here to here. So if it breaks this level, I would say you're probably going to get some type of extension to the downside that looks similar to this. Maybe bring you down to the level of 144. That's a possibility. But with it bit where it is, it does look like an upward channel, and you are making higher lows along the way. Let's zoom in inside of this area on the 1 hour. And we got ourselves, yeah, same entry on the 1 hour as the daily. So I would say somewhere around that 156, 157 level. It closes above that on the 1 hour. You could feel confident that it should hold by the end of the day and take you up to that 157.223, and then the 162 on the daily. You probably could hold that overnight, possibly if it really gains some momentum. Let me bring some oscillators in here. CC swing is above. Stochastic looks like it's above We're getting those light on the squeeze. For those that love MACD, actually that's the RSI. Yeah, you're getting that light green to bright green. Nice little crossover in the 1 hour. I would say I want to see it close above 157. That'll be the safest entry. Yeah, the daily looks good too. And let me see what the weekly looks like. Weekly, it looks like it wants to be party just started, but it hasn't crossed yet. So this could be just retracement to continue to the downside for the weekly. Because looking at the weekly right here, it looks like it needs to be more of a sell. Hold on, let me get rid of this so you can see what I mean. Yeah, so I'm thinking this was a good entry to take it to the downside. Then the bear flag started forming, and guess what they did? They just did a liquidity sweep right now. They haven't taken care of this imbalance here or here, but there's a possibility that whatever you're taking on this side to the upside, it may be just all retracement, and they're just buying it cheaper and cheaper so they can get that extension right back down to the downside, especially if it closes back below 155.94. So below 155.94, 156, bearish. Above 157, 157.50, bullish. Hopefully that helps. All right, let me go ahead and get into some tickers that I've been keeping my eye on since I only had that. I hope that helped. Kilo, I don't know. I don't want to butcher it. I'll go with Verde. All right, very helpful. Yeah, exactly. Like I'm not saying it's going to play out that way because it hasn't came back to the bottom of the channel, right? So imagine that this is a channel. It hasn't done that yet. But if it does and bounce from here, wait for it to close above here because that 155 on the weekly is the one that's going to be that question. All right, no problem. All right. Don't forget to hit the like and the rocket button. Greatly appreciate that. All right, so let's look at. I've been looking at Oracle, JCI, and Winnebago. Let's see what's going on with them. Looks like oil is making a little bit of a move. I'm gonna have to check that out. All right, let's go with Oracle first. So Oracle, they had earnings and it started creating that channel. So we kind of talked about this. I'm still eyeballing this. Not really too sure if I'm gonna take an entry on it. The only reason why I'm not looking to take an entry is because the way this one is like setting up, it looks like it's in no man's land. It doesn't know whether it wants to fill the gap. It doesn't know if it wants to break below. So right now, I was looking for it to get deeper into the gap, which would have been 106, and I probably would have played it up to this target. Hey, what's going on? What's going on? I think you're going with MYTH, but yeah, I got you. Oh, you want to get started on what I just read there. But yeah, it looks like a nice little break to the upside. That would trigger a buy signal on the cheat code algo, and it could really push to that upside. So with Oracle being in this point where it's kind of like pulling back right now, I would say for the most part, still not ready. It's kind of like in the back of the stove, boiling, but it just hasn't really given that real true boil of the direction it wants to go to. So this one still looks good for a potential upside to fill the gap. And it also looked like if we break this support at $100, we probably continue to the downside there. All right. And let's see. The next one is JCI, Johnson Controls. This one, I was looking for it to fill the gap. I started looking at it, but it didn't play any of my entry time frames inside of the gap. It closed outside of it. It just looked like there was selling pressure waiting for it there. So what I'm probably going to do is wait for the order block, see if I can get something like a really, really good price, get a nice little momentum. And I think what's going to end up happening is something along the lines of they're going to dance a little bit here and then probably come back into the order block and then just take it out, then come back down for it. That's what I'm thinking. If we come to the 1 hour and bring in the stochastic, you can kind of see what I mean. It just looks like it's not ready. A stochastic and a MACD pointing down does not scream out, I will fill the gap at any way, fashion, or form. So I'm really staying away from Johnson Controls as well. It is still on my watch list, but I'm just being curious right now. And then Winnebago, like I said, this one was one of the darlings from the pandemic because people didn't like the hotels anymore. And yeah, they had not really solid earnings when it was all said and done. and it filled the gap kind of quick, then a little bit quicker than I expected. Missed earnings by slightly. I think that this level is our entry level, and they're coming back to kind of pick up some more. So if it's all good, it's all good. But if we can hold 69.05, I could see this kind of run up. I don't think it's going to do the run up until after dividends. Their dividends is January 11th, so I'm probably going to look for a strong support. Play it up. If it holds, great. If it doesn't hold, then I'll go ahead and take my profits or small loss, and then I'll probably get back in again on December 11th to see if this run up actually has some legs, and they're just going to change the angle of the uptrend, which is this one here. So maybe some consolidation, stays above 69.50, maybe wick down to like 67.23. But generally speaking, I think Winnebago has more upside than downside as far as its support here and here, and a solid order block based on that. All right. Other than that, I have not looked at Nike. Let's see what we got for Nike. NKE. Oh, that is a nice little uptrend, especially after dividends. Nice. Okay, I see you, Nike. They have earnings tonight. Yep, they're gonna have earnings tonight. So this one could be one. I don't see a really good, nice structural support that supports this whole entire thing, and it almost kind of stayed in this channel all the way up. Could they come back and retest all the way down to 114 after earnings? Not saying I want to gamble on earnings. Listen, if there's any way that you can lose a lot of money, it's trying to play during earnings. Yes, you can make some money, but just like anything else, high risk, high reward, low risk, low reward, but you can make calculated high probability trades, and that offsets those things, right? So with earnings being tonight, this could be a nice play for today, of them trying to reestablish, because pre-market's already up. They might try to get back up to that 123, but I would not carry anything over earnings unless I got in before this gap somewhere around here. Let me see what type of earnings is this. Oh, they return a lot of earnings to their shareholders. They're anticipating 0.84, which is slightly below here. So they're trying to maintain, but they're not trying to surpass. If this is another surprise, you could see Nike probably getting up to 135. If they blow this and only come to break even, I think the investors that thought they're going to get a 25% surprise again, they're going to be the first ones out. At the very least, maybe fill the gap down here to 116. Maybe come back and test that support around 114. But it is at TP2. TP2 means that people are taking profits before they walk into earnings, and you can see it happening. They entered here, got up to this level, they started taking profit. You can see with the selling pressure. Let me zoom in here. Look at this selling pressure that's happening here. Bring in the oscillators. We're already showing weakness here, and you can see with the CC swing, we're starting to get a little bit of a bend. So yeah, I would say, yeah, play it to the upside if it does give you some insight to it, but only thing I see is pre-market up. All right. I think we kind of went through the full gamut of everything. I appreciate everybody that actually went ahead and like and subscribe on my YouTube. Also, those that hit the rocket button, you're like my best friends. Now I'm just playing. TradingView has the algorithm with those rockets, those boosters. It kind of lets them know I bring in some really, really good information. By all means, click the booster so that way they could go ahead and find great insight inside of the market. Also, like and subscribe and hit the bell button. That's the key thing. Instagram is down below. Twitter is down below. And if you're trading by yourself, I have to open my trading floor in like another 20 minutes. Go ahead and DM me when you subscribe with cheat code, and I will go ahead and send you the link so that way you can come and trade with us. Other than that, have a great morning. I'll see you later, my neighbors. Later.